Hey, you guys. Okay, so I've only got a minute, and this will go quickly if nobody jumps on. And if anybody jumps on, then So what I'm talking about, I'm going to talk about, I just went shopping at Joann's, and this is what I'm going to be talking about today, doing this pattern. So you guys have asked for a sew along. I don't know, I can't promise you a regular schedule that I'm going to do a live sew along with, but I'm going to start doing that. So I found out, I was kind of hanging out on my phone, looking online on Facebook, and I found out that the patterns were on sale at Joann's. So being a good person I am, not really, good wife I am, not really, I asked my husband, I'm like, hey, let me just run out, jump out, and I'm going to go to Joann's. So I said, but I'll take the baby. So I took the 2-year-old. That's always crazy. There's nothing smart about that, because the 2-year-old's like climbing up on the stuff, jumping in and out of this thing. And I look like this crazy woman trying to ignore my kids and, getting a little, and I'm just like, listen, I got 6. If this one wants to run up on the ceiling, I don't even care. I don't care. So I went to Joann's, and I'm picking out, and it was Buttericks that were on, those patterns were on sale this weekend today. And I'm going through the book. Picked out about 3 that I really liked. And they're on sale for $2. Usually they're about $10 to buy a pattern. I hate buying $10 patterns. It's just beyond me to buy them. And I'm going through the drawer and I can't find a single pattern. So I decided, with this 2-year-old climbing like a monkey all over the place, that I would just go through the drawer and pick out patterns. So I picked out like 5 gorgeous patterns. I'm going to have to Instagram them. I'll post them on Instagram. I go and I pick out fabric. So the one, it wasn't this pattern that I seen, I'll tell you why, but it's this kind of, not exactly an A-line, but a little bit of an A-line skirt with pockets, and my big criteria is a waistband. So looking for that, I went looking, and then I found fabric. So what I found was this really nice, it almost looks denim. It's a really rich dark blue. It's kind of showing up very royal, but it's a really dark blue. It almost looks like denim, but it's a linen-like fabric. Hey, Abby's, let's see. She's like, hi, Trish. I watch all your stuff, but prefer to remain silent. But I'm so excited. A sewing video. I'm not going to actually be sewing, but I'm going to talk about like the mentality of like what I picked and why I got it and what I'm doing to prepare for getting ready. So there you go, Abby. So I picked out this like really cool one because I thought, my thinking is that I would get just a couple of skirts for work. And the really nice part, getting ready to go to work, and the really nice part about doing skirts is if you like grow or shrink a little bit, they hang out longer than a pair of pants, because my pants are like big and small. So I picked out that. I found a really cute box top, and what I'm calling a box top is it typically doesn't have sleeves. And so, you have your regular neck, but then the shoulder line, I'm going to sound like I'm really trendy with fashion. I am not trendy with fashion whatsoever, but I know what I like. So the shoulder of the shirt goes to about here. So it, like that would be the shoulder. There's no sleeves. And then it goes down, and then it kind of comes in and it flows, and then it'd be long enough. So I figured with a skirt like this, it would look really cute. And actually, it was a vintage shirt that I was looking for. Hey, Farmer Meemaw. And it was a vintage shirt that I found. It was totally cute. But then it kind of gives this like very like curving in, but a very easy to sew. So I found that pattern. I found these silk-like fabrics. So here's like the first one. Isn't that really nice? There's a butterfly one, but I put it back. So, like that would look really, really beautiful, feminine, and professional. So I picked that up at a yard because that's how much I needed. It's like 1.25 yards. And then I picked this one up too. I didn't want to go, I almost bought like 2 more, and I was like, no, just this, just this. So, and then I got this one. So it's a black, but it has like all the colors on the black. I know you can't see real well, but I'm like, they look so good. And I'm like, that will look really, really good together. So I think I'm like jammed up doing great. And I went back by the patterns with this crazy 2-year-old climbing the stores. I'm waiting for us to get kicked out. She's to the point like how the stuff hangs off the shelf, you know, like the little pegs. She's hiding behind them. So I'm talking to the woman and I'm like showing her my patterns, what I'm really excited about. And she goes, but they're not on sale. Yeah, they are. They're right here, Butterick. When I was going through the Butterick pattern book, I went to the simplicity drawer. Hence why I couldn't find anything. So I was just like, are you kidding me? And I've already cut the fabric. So I took a picture of my patterns because I was not buying them. I was there to buy them at $2 a piece, not $10. So I didn't buy them at all. And one of the things is there's a book just for New Look. And New Look has all their patterns at Joann's is $3.99. Every day, $3.99. So I went through there to look for this pattern. So it's really hard. I know it's not real easy to see. So the big things about this is I like that it's an A-line. I actually like that the height, I think they call it a midi. I don't know. But you know, it's about calf length. It has pockets. I am a pocket crazy person, especially if I'm teaching, I'm going to need pockets. The big part is, I gotta make sure I can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. If you can see, it has a waistband. So that's something big for me. I want to have a waistband. There was a lot of skirts and even some with pockets that did not have a waistband. I made a lot of skirts in high school because I did the FFA. So you had to have official dress, which was a black skirt and the whole 9 yards. The black, with it being the black skirt, I always made, like, I've made a black pencil skirt because it used the least amount of fabric and I could pop them out in an hour. And I always had one with a waistband about this big. So I was always a little pudgy. I was a pudge. It didn't matter what size I was. I've always been a little pudgy. I'm just, isn't that all of us? But what I found from making it is if you do that waistband and then you do the waistband with a really good interfacing, it holds the tummy in a whole lot better, if you know what I mean. So that's why I picked out this one. The other one I think really was better. Like I said, I'm going to put it on Instagram. So let me catch it. I love the floral one. I know, because I'm like, does it make my eyes look blue? And I also like this one too, because even though it's not floral, it's very black. I felt like the colors were good, you know, because I do pick out all my clothes according to my eyes, which this was gifted. I did not buy it. And no, it doesn't bring up my eyes. It is weird though, because this is my first time actually shopping for fashion fabric. So this is a silk-like top, a fashion. So it's going to hang really nice. And that's the big part. Like, see, it's going to hang really nice. No matter how I mess it up, it's going to hang really nice. Where I typically would sew with my quilting cap, cotton, like cotton. The stuff is not friendly. It does not hang nice. Like, here's what I made. This is a New Look pattern also. The only thing I don't like is I feel like the interfacing is so huge. So when I put it on, my interfacing is always sticking out. And it's cute, but it doesn't hang really nice. And it doesn't have that flattering flow. It doesn't move at all. So that's what's really nice about getting that. So I'm really up in my game because I'm always frustrated with what I make for myself. And I realize it's because I'm not buying the right fabric. I always stay away from that side of the store at Joann's because it scares me. And so I'm like, embrace the fear. This linen fabric and this one, they were both $12.99 a yard, but they were 40% off. So what's that? Why can't I do math today? $7.20 a square foot, or a yard. And I got two. So this fabric right here cost me $14. So if I get this magnificent skirt done at $14 plus the interfacing I already had and a $2 zipper, under 20 bucks, and I love it. Golden. Let's see. I had my wedding dress hand sewn out of a curtain material. You can't even tell it. I had it sewn like a Renaissance dress. Was it kind of sheer too? Abby says, is there a specific interfacing or weight of interfacing? I don't have interfacing figured out yet. I typically buy a standard weight interfacing, and I wait till Thanksgiving because Joann's here will do you can buy the whole bolt. And I buy the whole bolt, and that will last me all year. If I need extra sturdiness, I will actually do 2 layers of interfacing because it's just easier to have one kind of interfacing, and I'm not trying to buy wedding. I'm reading wedding. I'm not trying to have different types of interfacing on hand. And I also, my mom's really big. She'll keep all that stuff. I don't. And then the other part too is I don't want to be buying it in pieces. And I'll actually take my interfacing that is for like little parts that doesn't matter. If I have like little pieces, I'll actually just layer them and sandwich them all over to cover the spot. I don't get really specific because I'm kind of just cheap and easy that way. Janet says inside or outside pockets. It's going to be inside pockets. So there's 2 layers. So it's kind of like a little void. And then the belly band with Lycra or spandex. No, I'm not. I'm not actually doing that. And I'm going to tell you about that because I'm going to cover about measuring and like how I'm going to do that. My wedding dress turned out so awesome. I sew sometimes. I love learning new things. Right. Okay. So disappointment was the fact that I went there to go buy patterns and those patterns weren't on sale. So I put them back, and it was like, I cut the fabric, and I'm like, it's okay. I cut the fabric. We're fine. I have a picture of the patterns I want. I'll just go get the pattern later. But what I'm going for is like a box top kind of, and you'll see that in my Instagram. Okay. So I went ahead when I did what worked out really good is that the pattern I was planning to use. So I think this one turned out better. It was ankle length, and I don't really want ankle length. I want calf length. So I decided to sew or cut 2 yards, which was a little bit short, but I figured it wouldn't matter. Well, I already have a cut, and when I went looking for this is actually the length I want. I'm not entirely sure. I might actually widen the waistband. I haven't decided yet. I might not widen this waistband. I mean, they say if you really want to do a pattern right, get something cheap like sheets or something and make the pattern. And then you know if it's going to fit or not before you use your good fabric. I don't know if I'm going to do that. That's really pushing the envelope for me. I'm not that patient. So we'll see. I should do that. And if I do that, then I'll decide whether or not to do a wider band or not. But it worked out because for the size I needed, I got 2 yards, which is really, which is really kind of like right there in the middle. I just assume the largest size because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna share my measurements with you when I go and do them. I just assume the largest size unless you really know your measurements, because don't measure yourself in the store. You'll cry. And don't believe the numbers on a sewing pattern. They're just mean. There's nothing beyond it but mean. So my fabric was 58 inches. It works out. See, hopefully you can see that. So here's the sizes up here. Here's what you measure to get those sizes. Here is C. If it's 45 inches wide, you need 2 7/8. If it's 60 inches, you need 1 yard and 7/8. And I got 2 yards. So we're good. Okay. So when it comes to measuring, I measured myself. But I didn't really go upon this because according to my measurements, just doing my waist and my hips, because it's a skirt, I don't need to worry about the top. Haha, that's what I do. I make it out of sheets and then never make it out of regular material because I like to make my own nightgowns. That's good. Oh, I got a good pattern. I should do that to make nightgowns or like house dresses or something. When I did my measurements, and I'm going to show you this, it feels like it's fog. It doesn't feel like it's very clear today on my webcam, but I'm going to show it to you and hopefully you can read it. All right. It's Shane here. So my waist and my hips. My waist is 35.5 inches. My hips are 39 inches. My bust is 37, which doesn't really matter, but for this. But according to those measurements, my waist puts me at between a size 20 and a 22. My hips put me at, let's see, where's my hips? My hips put me at a size 14 to 16. Okay, so my waist is a size 20. My hips can be a 14 or 16. Isn't that pleasant? That's the way I'm made. You know, I'm in a little apple. I'm round around my belly according to the sewing patterns. So the biggest thing to know, I'm going to write this size 14. The next thing I did was check on this, and this is as far as I'm going, just measuring, and then we're going to call it a day. It's another day. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm probably not going to do a sew along with it cutting it out, but I'll do one when I do my fabric. Is when I go on here, it will tell me the hip measurement. Does that make sense? Right here. Right here it says the garment measures, and it tells me the hips for A, B, and C, and then it tells me the length for A, B, and C, and it tells me the width at the bottom. So all of those come down to, you know, I don't want it tight on my hips at all. You know, I want it baggy, a little baggy, and I want it loose. But my hip measurement shows me that even at a size 10, there's room for me in it, in my hips, because my hips are 39 inches. So even in a size 10, when their hips are 34 inches, they've designed this to be about 8 inches up, you know, extra around hips, which is a lot. I'm not going to lie, it's a lot. So one of the things I did, I didn't use that to decide what size I'm going to sew, because that becomes the biggest problem, is sizing things right. I pulled the pattern out. Well, I did open up the sheets and look at all the sheets to see what was, yeah, that's the finished measurement of the outfit. So this piece, this new look, all those 4 skirts are made off of one sheet. Okay, I don't know how much you can see. You'll be able to see on this. So this is a skirt panel, a pocket panel, if you can see that. Another skirt panel. Another pocket. It's not until we're right, let me pull this. This is kind of a pain. You got to forgive me. This is hard live TV. Okay. I haven't cut them out yet. I'm going to plan to cut them out, but I haven't cut them out yet. I might do that after I get off here, maybe. I got places to be, though, so I might not. So this bottom band that's called right here, do not get that confused. That bottom band is for this contrast. That's the bottom. But they're calling the waistband, instead of, I'm getting it, it's not the waist. I would call it a waistband. They're not calling it a waistband. They're calling it a yoke. So what this is where I'm going to interface this. I'm going to sew it on, and this is my finished top of my skirt, is this right here. And so this is for the front, and the back is here. Okay, so I had a little mistake the first round, because I wasn't paying attention to the directions. Now it makes me all crazy. I took and I measured here. That's not where I need to measure. I need to measure for both the front and the back, because they're not the same. Otherwise, it'd say cut 4. And this right here says it's on a fold. That's important. So I took this and I measured out a size 14, 16, 18. on it in a 20. So see how it goes here? Like 10 inches. Hello, Simply 7. I'm sewing. As y'all have always complained about me sewing, I'm sewing. All right. So I took that and I measured it out. I measured that out for the front and the back. All right. We're there. We're speaking my language. So when I did the size 14, I calculated, what I ended up doing was I took the front that measured out, I multiplied it by 2, the back I multiplied it by 2, I added it together, but then I had to minus my seam allowance, which is almost half an inch, approximately half an inch 4 times, because where the 2 sides come together, here's a half inch on this fabric, a half inch on that fabric, where the other sides come together, half inch on this fabric, half inch on that fabric, 2 inches off. When I did that, it gave me a final measurement. And that's when I realized, like, oh, if I did a size 14, it would be 34 inches. Okay. So then I take my 34 inches, you know, I have it held up at 34 inches. That means I'm going to be squeezing in to close it, and it's going to be this high. That's my belly button's here. Do I really want to wear a skirt this high? That's not really meant to be that high. I mean, now granted, I can make it a size 14 and I can wear it longer if I lose weight. But it also means I can't wear it if I don't. So then I try to size 16, I try to size 18, and when I hit 18, it was 36. It's way more comfortable. I can wear it on my belly button, and then it will sit right. Hey, Compass, you made it. You're going to probably want to watch this at the back end. So that's what I did. This is how I ended up making my final decision on what size to do. And I'm going to cut this out at a size 18. So this would tell me I'm a size 20. The finished garment would tell me that I could be a size 10, which doesn't work at all. But when it came down to it, the best way that I would be able to really know where it matters, because here's the thing, it's going to flare off. It's not going to be hugging anything else but my waist. For this pattern, I measured the waistband. There you go. I measured the waistband. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut out my pattern for size 18. I mean, I might play with it and think, like, do I just want to do a size 14, or not a 14, a 16 instead of an 18? Would I be happy with that? I know that I have another pattern that I want to make, but it's a pair of pants, so it's not forgiving. You know, you only have so high you can go in a pair of pants. You can't raise the waist up, and the waist isn't big enough. So, and I don't want to change the pattern at all to make it big enough. So that's what I kind of like about a skirt, is I can raise it up and down. So do you guys have any questions before I call it like we're done, before I leave? Just please, I'm going to give you a minute, or just type hi or whatever, or bye, but you got it. But so that's how I'm coming up with my patterns. It is good to have all your measurements in hand. I have a couple patterns I bought for my daughter, made by the same company, made for the same style, and the measurements don't even match up for the size. It's really aggravating. So, you know, and it comes down to, like, if I was doing a dress that held on the top, I would be using my top measurement or my bust as my determiner. And then depending on how big it would be at the waist, I would compare my measurements with the finished garment. You know, I don't want it restricting at all. But so I feel like I'm pretty good here. Okay, that's all I have. I'm going to talk to you guys later. It seems strange to have a live show, not an hour and a half long. I do have to get to some stuff, so I'm going to talk to you then. But that is my next project I'm going to do. I will have a couple of parts that will come up with this. It will be me cutting it out. It's a linen like. I'm not going to wash my fabric. I'm actually going to do Down South Housewife. Hi, I came in late. I was fishing. I hope you got something. I'm not going to wash my fabric because I'm going to let that shrinkage happen. I'm okay with any shrinkage that does happen. I should have taken a picture of the top. When I go back, I might take a picture of the top for this fabric so that I know what the care for it. But I mean, essentially it's kind of cold water washing kind of deal. So I hope, I probably won't get to this next week or the week after, but if for some fluke it is, I'm just going to jump on here and sew and kind of open up and sew. I talked to you guys about doing a bunch of live videos from the homeschool convention. I don't know if I can do that live with on YouTube. I know I can do it live on Facebook, and I'll do it live on Facebook, but I don't think I can do it live on YouTube. Oh, Sonia, so fast forward, what I just did was I kind of covered my little trip going shopping and picking out the wrong patterns. And then this is a skirt I'm working on making for work, for when I go to work, and I'm using a blue linen, and I wanted to talk about how I sized it for myself. I'm hoping that this ends up to be a really great functional pattern, and if it is, I'll make it, I will probably make about 4 or 5 of them and then make it again and again. And this pattern's every day $3.99 at Joann Fabrics. It's 6106. All right, so fast forward summary, I just got here. There you go. Oh yeah, Tanya, I haven't finished reading all your comments. I just seen them right before I went on live, but I like how you did them in numbers. Number 1, number 2, number 3. That was awesome. I've been snuggling a sick one, so I actually heard most of it. Yay. All right, you guys, I'm going to talk to you later. Bye.